Okay, so there's a lot to talk about when it comes to summer game events, games that I got to see and play at Summer Game Fest Play Days, and just tons of new titles as well as titles that have been announced already that were showcased throughout the past week. And yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, but Dragon Age The Veilguard is one that I've been anticipating to see more of. You know, Bioware, they made a lot of games that I grew up with, and this is a company that really, really needs a win, and I'm hoping that this new Dragon Age game will make us go, okay, maybe Bioware is back, and we can look forward to great things in the future. But when it comes to the marketing of Dragon Age The Veilguard, I think they've already stumbled. In terms of the quality of the final game, that remains to be seen. I did see sort of a 1 hour behind the scenes, behind closed doors presentation of it that is basically what they showcased in the 20-minute gameplay presentation that they released recently. Just a longer version of it. They showed a bit of the character creator, which actually looks really robust, and they showed more moments in between than the gameplay trailer or the gameplay presentation that they uploaded publicly. And there was also developer commentary that explained some of their goals with the game and everything. And so in terms of what the final game will be like, that remains to be seen. Keeping my fingers crossed. But marketing, let's talk about the official reveal trailer that has garnered, I mean, overwhelmingly negative reception. I think the concept of this trailer was just ill-conceived and not in line with the tone that a lot of fans would expect from Dragon Age. So the first thing I'd actually like to do is to check out the trailer itself and show you what I mean. Here we go. I will say, graphically and aesthetically, like, the game does look beautiful. And this is the trailer, but when you look at gameplay footage, like, yeah, the engine is doing work, the Frostbite engine. But yeah, they're introducing the characters and giving them their role titles and everything with little quips and whatnot, interjecting throughout. But it's just like tonally.
What about Darkspawn?
Yeah. Someone who will stand between us and a pack of demons.
It's like very upbeat.
You know there will be dragons.
Right.
It almost feels like
Need someone with fire in their blood.
an MCU trailer, like a Marvel movie trailer.
This crew needs a leader. Someone we can count on. Someone that the world can count on. But where are we gonna find them?
And, like, of course, a big part of Dragon Age is putting a crew together and everything, but this it feels like a trailer for, it feels like a James Gunn trailer is the best way I can put it. It feels like a trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad or something like that. And that's kind of the general sentiments that's being expressed if you say, look at the comments section, where people are like, what are we, some kind of Dragon Suicide Squad? Are you sure this is dark fantasy? I mean, I remember playing Dragon Age Origin, which is still my favorite Dragon Age game. And tonally, it feels so misaligned compared to what I think a lot of fans would like Dragon Age to be. So many people miss sort of what Origin established and wish they'd harken back to that a lot more. And then beyond that, people are saying things like, for a Dragon Age game where the entire world is on the brink of destruction and the stakes have never been higher, it certainly looks like everyone is having fun. There's a trailer for a game that lacks everything we loved about Dragon Age, so the feedback has been pretty harsh on this trailer. Now, they did show gameplay, and the reception of that is a little better. It is definitely much less overwhelmingly negative, but there's still quite a bit of dislikes on this. It's still, the feedback is still ultimately pretty mixed. And I think in large part it has to do with the first impression that the trailer made. Now, look, again, the game does look beautiful. And obviously, given BioWare's past history with showing, gameplay footage or trailers that are not representative of the final product, some might doubt whether this is gameplay, and I think that's totally fair to be cautious about what they show until we see the final game. Now, seeing the behind closed doors presentation, it did feel like an actual game, and the developer actually made it a point to emphasize that the game is pretty much finished and that they're just essentially working on bugs and whatnot. So it's not like this game is still deep in development. It's like it's pretty much almost done. So hopefully that does mean that the marketing here represents the final product. But yeah, I mean, I think visually it looks striking. I think the engine here is doing a lot of great work. But one area where I think this game might not resonate with fans is the combat. It looks very third-person action, which, might be more in line with, if you're a fan of Dragon Age 2, maybe you'll enjoy it. But I feel like they do have the pause aspect of, being able to tactically engage with combat, but it doesn't have that bird's eye view, not that I can see here. It feels more like, I don't know, like Final Fantasy where you pause, maybe Final Fantasy 15, where you don't even directly control your crew members. It's more, you get to like slow down time or pause time and then choose your companion abilities that you want to deploy. Or you could say it's a lot like Mass Effect even, where you're not directly controlling your crewmates. You are picking their abilities for them to deploy on certain targets and stuff like that. But that's, Mass Effect, that's that play style. Dragon Age, I think people will associate with the tactical nature of being able to control every aspect of what your characters are doing and really feel that sense of you being like a master tactician. And let's see that in action right here. Let's see if they actually show the pause menu. But you can see just how third-person action it is. It's got that like hack and slash kind of vibe to it. It's almost like Final Fantasy 16-esque. Now, the devs at the behind closed doors presentation made it a point to emphasize that this is like an RPG, and there's going to be a lot of complexity when it comes to like progression and classes and subclasses.
I think that's the last of them.
Good. Let's get to Dumont Plaza and find
But I want to show you, there it is. Okay, so this is more combat. Again, more hack and slash kind of gameplay for the rogue, with some ranged combat with a bow and arrow. But then you get to the tactical stuff, the tactical gameplay of pausing and deploying moves from your crew members. There, yeah, that is the pause menu of this game. And you got your own abilities here. Your companion abilities, from what I was told by the devs, are going to go here and here. So 2 companions next to you. And that this just feels like you're not really controlling the battlefield like a chessboard, which is how it felt like in Dragon Age Origin, where you could literally command every character's individual movement, and it really felt like you were strategizing and really kind of nitpicking every aspect of what was going on in combat from every character that was in the combat sequence. This feels much more like a glorified action game with RPG elements, and that doesn't necessarily mean the game's going to be bad or that gameplay isn't going to be fun. There's the question of, is it actually Dragon Age? Is it what people want out of the Dragon Age series as far as the core gameplay is concerned. Like if it was any other IP, maybe people would jive with it, but I think just there's a sense of like people having that nostalgia and missing what Dragon Age Origin, arguably still the best Dragon Age game established, and people wanted this game to go back to that. Now, from a presentation standpoint, aside from graphics, I mean, this is the intro of the game. This is the opening sequence of the game, is what I was told. And the sort of the magnitude of the set pieces does look stellar. I think visually, again, this game is actually looking really gorgeous, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on here visually, and there's an epic scale that's already presented in terms of the conflict from the outset, and tonally, it doesn't feel as I guess as MCU-y as the trailer made it seem. It does have that sense of impending doom and danger, I suppose. Though some people are kind of criticizing the way his plans right here are foiled by just somebody pushing a pillar, which seems like a bit of an oversight. But, you know, there's stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, if this set piece is representative of what the rest of the game will offer, then cool. And I think in terms of the cinematography of, like, dialogue and the seamless transition from gameplay to cutscenes and dialogue, the cutscenes, the in-game cutscenes, I think are presented really well. I think the presentation is kind of where this game so far is really appealing to me. But is this Dragon Age? Is this going to play like Dragon Age? And, you know, obviously this is an intro sequence and it feels very linear. So what's it going to be like once you get out of the intro sequence? You know, how open is the open world going to feel? The quests, the storylines, the variety and magnitude of content, all of that is still up in the air. So yeah, I don't know, man. The game is supposed to come out in fall of 2024, so there's still a couple of months left for them to hopefully market the game better in the lead up to launch and show us the stuff that's really going to wow Dragon Age fans. You know, cool looking set pieces and presentation alone is not what's going to be able to carry whether people really feel invested in this game. I think they're going to have to show more story beats. They're going to have to show more open world stuff. They're going to have to show more of how the combat looks. Right now, like what they showed here in terms of combat, they didn't have much in the way of like choosing abilities from companions and how the tactical element is actually going to work. Like you've got one ability here that's yours, but all this other stuff is locked, and there's obviously stuff that will unravel throughout the course of the game, but it's hard to see how the tactical combat of this particular Dragon Age release will really look and feel and play when you only show sort of the intro portion of the game where that stuff's very limited, or, I mean, currently non-existent. But I just don't get the sense that it's going to feel like Dragon Age Origin, which is the game that I'm most like, this is what Dragon Age should be. It's kind of like when Nintendo puts out a new Paper Mario game, and something like Origami King is not the worst game ever or anything. It's like, oh, that's, you know, pretty good. But fuck, do I miss Thousand Year Door and that style of Paper Mario, and why do they refuse to go back to that fan favorite sort of gameplay style of that series? Why do they keep trying for something that isn't resonating with fans as much? People would like to see them make more akin to Thousand Year Door, and with Dragon Age, they would like to see Bioware make a Dragon Age that's more akin to Origin. But with all that said, it's too early to judge. I think the production value of this game definitely looks impressive, but whether it'll tell a story that feels reminiscent to the Bioware of old, whose writing and storytelling I thought was, you know, masterful back in the day, and whether they can harken back to that, and whether this is going to be a game that ultimately appeals to fans of the series, and, you know, whether it'll actually end up launching in a good state and not being kind of another Anthem or Mass Effect Andromeda scenario, that remains to be seen. I wish them the best, but certain skepticisms I think are also warranted at this stage. But Bioware, they need to come back, man, and they need a big win to do so, and hopefully this Dragon Age game will be it. They're working on the next Mass Effect game as well, and I feel like whether people feel excited for that will ride greatly on how they do with Dragon Age and whether that can kind of start building up goodwill and a more positive reputation again. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, this is everything I have to say about Dragon Age The Veilguard and why it's kind of being mass disliked from what I can see and what my take on the game is based on what I've seen. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Dragon Age Veilguard and whether it's appealing to you or whether you're kind of waiting and seeing, or whether you're completely like, nah, this ain't for me. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.